Well, good hump day morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. So let's get open for business and let's wake up the football gods here this early morning. It is 6 a.m. and I'm excited as can be because I'm headed down the road to go work on the red brick house tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. And, of course, it's the off season. So this is the time to start building and start getting everything done in getting ready for the NFL season that is this fall. We've got some changes that we're going to be doing to the studio and here. Some things you'll notice, some things you may not notice. But it's going to definitely be good. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys. If you want to help us to continue to grow, just hit the thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. All those things are relative to us being able to grow and to bring you the latest and the best news, and definitely a little different than most people, news on the Dallas Cowboys as well as the NFL. A couple of things that I have on my mind here before I get on the road seems like Daron Payne is the man of the minute, thanks to Micah Parsons, of course, basically putting Jerry Jones on blast and saying, we're just a couple pieces away from that Super Bowl. Let's listen to Micah Parsons in his own words here from the Super Bowl.
Right.
I'm with the people.
What are we missing in Dallas?
I feel like we're right there.
Right.
We're 2 plays away.
Yeah.
We're 2 or 3 plays away. I know it sounds cliche to always say it, and we just got to be more accountable, more aware, and then we got to go after in free agency too.
What areas?
I would like to see us get I like Daron Payne a lot.
More big bodies in the middle.
We got too many rushers.
Yeah, you got too many speed guys. It's something we talked about. It always worried me about you guys. Right.
I would love to get a big body corner out there. I hope we keep LV, and everyone else wants a receiver. We might as well get a receiver too. You know, I'm a man of the people for sure.
There you go.
Right.
Big body corner, big men in the middle. I'm still messed up with us letting John Ridgeway go. But there's a point to this, though. We do have a lot of speed guys that are out there. You know, we can throw wave after wave after wave on the edge. But see, if you can't hold up the middle, which has been one of the problems for the Cowboys for years, is they don't put the value on defensive tackles, and especially not on nose tackles as well. Those big guys that can just stop the movement of the offensive line make it that much easier for the guys on the outside. And it is important to have that pass rush being supplemented by the guys in the middle. So Daron Payne had an incredible season last year for the Commanders. 11.5 sacks, 64 combined tackles. He was a madman in the middle, and it would be great to be able to get him. Now, of course, Washington still has the chance to put the franchise tag on him. We don't know if they will or won't, but we'll have to wait and see. And if they don't, you can best believe that Daron Payne, being that he is relatively young, is going to be a premium to get a guy like that. Now, we'll see if the Cowboys actually, for once, start, digging in deep in free agency. I'll believe it when I see it. I just will. I'll just believe it when I see it. Of course, we don't know what the plan is this offseason. Everybody has looked at the Cowboys and said, you're a good team. You had back-to-back 12 years. But the reality is what we did last offseason stifled what we were trying to do this year. The teams that ended up, and it didn't work for everybody. It didn't work for everybody. Let me be clear about that. The Eagles, they had the Midas touch. Every free agent they brought in worked for them. They just did. For a lot of teams, a lot of the free agents they brought in did absolutely positively nothing for them or their roster. So it is a crapshoot, but so is the draft. There are no guarantees with any players. And if we're going to still continue to be Stephen Jones's penny pinchers, well, we can just go ahead and say we're not going to be in the Super Bowl next year. I'm hoping that we see a bold Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones who used to make Herschel Walker trades. Jerry Jones who used to take chances on Charles Haley's and Deion Sanders to get them over the hump. I need that guy back. I really do. I was going to get into Michael Irvin a little bit here but I'm gonna save that for later because it's still kind of crazy, the whole Michael Irvin situation where one accusation leads to him being removed from a hotel and removed off of 2 networks without a police presence, without a police report, with literally her word and the hotel versus Michael Irvin. And it just doesn't seem right that ESPN and NFL Network would just drop him just like that. But I'll go into that a little bit more probably while I'm going down the road. We, of course, have Aaron Rodgers, who's going into his fortress of darkness to decide what he's going to do, the drama queen that he is. We have Derek Carr out there who all of a sudden revisionist history says he's a great quarterback and everybody should want him. And then we have Dallas Cowboy fans just say, just get rid of Dak. Just get rid of Dak. The one thing that I'm still enjoying, though, is the fact that the Eagles are still in pain. Let's listen to Chris Long and see, is this sour apples?
57 overall. What do you got for me on that?
Man, there was a moment, Rich, in the fourth quarter where I thought to myself, this is the greatest Super Bowl of all time, right? And the way it ended was certainly hard to stomach, especially for Eagles fans. And, you know, for people just objectively watching the game, I know initially, you know, my reaction was maybe I didn't see an angle. Maybe Greg Olsen didn't see an angle because he had a hand in talking me into being outraged as I drove home. And, you know, I still think relative to the way the rest of the game was called, you know, that penalty was a bit ticky-tack. But by the letter of the law and certainly seeing the freeze frame of the jersey being pulled and more than anything hearing James Bradberry talking in detail about, hey, you know, like, I gave it a tug to try to gain momentum, to pull myself back out to run with the wheel route. You know, it's not just the turning of was it Juju, but it's also, and they missed one on Juju earlier in the game. It's the using him to slingshot and catch up. And, you know, a lot of people seem to be confused. You know, inside 5 yards, you got pass interference rules, and then you have, you know, uncatchable balls, but none of that applied to this play. And having heard, you know, James Bradberry, who deserves a lot of credit for having the fortitude to admit that, and then Nick Sirianni, who lost with class and said, hey, that's not the reason we lost the game.
Really?
And Kelsey, the whole thing, it made it a little bit easier to stomach, and it was still one of the greatest Super Bowls of all time. And I think the offensive lines deserve a lot of credit for that because both quarterbacks were clean, and you were able to see them work their magic. I mean, they were both sensational. Jalen Hurts wins that game. He's the MVP. So it was a great game, but in the end, the two things that I worried about kind of played out. It was Patrick Mahomes' greatness, and it was Andy Reid, not only with a bye week, but with 30 minutes to kind of come up with the first 15 and a game plan for the second half, and to come out there and run the football and protect Mahomes. Obviously, the stuff with the motion at the end of the game, which I'm sure we'll talk about, was huge. Andy Heck deserves a lot of credit. He's the run game coordinator in Kansas City. He was the coach that, you know, I've known him since he recruited me at UVA. He coached my brother Kyle. He's a hell of a coach. They won that thing up front.
Catch the rich.
Okay. One thing that I'm kind of surprised on there is we talk about class and Nick Sirianni. Those are two things that should never go together because Nick Sirianni has no class. We're talking about the guy who was, you know, out there flicking off the other team, and literally his quarterback had more common sense. Like, bro, don't do that. Come on, man. That's a bad look. Sorry, Nick Sirianni, it couldn't happen to a nicer person losing in the Super Bowl. Yes, I'm enjoying those salty Eagle fans' tears. I'm just wondering how long it'll be before we start to see some of them again. I'm Mark Holmes, and well, I got to get down the road. I got work to do, good people, on the Red Brick House. Definitely check us out on my other channel, Cooking and check me out on that one too, Cooking and Tailgating with Joe Boo, as well as Joe Boo's Day Job. I'll see you there.
Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
One hell of a job, and the only thing else I get to